place.
Garrain Jones, welcome. We are podcasting right now. We are video recording because I just want to get as much of the vibe that is Garrain Jones and bring it to the people. So welcome. I'm really excited to be here with you. Even then, you won't really get what is happening here, but we're gonna try and go there. So Garrain Jones, I'm going to attempt to introduce you, and then I want you to fill in some of the blanks. So how I actually even know about you is from back in my network marketing days. So you were kind of a star on the rise on the scene when I was in that world. And I've just recently moved to LA where I reached out to you and we connected, a couple of days ago. Came over, you invited me to your house over here in Studio City. And since then we've been to a networking event and here I am again recording some, amazing content for these people out there with you. We have some mutual friends, so it's a really interesting, story, just the tininess of this world. But you're also so much more than that. You're a recording artist. You travel the world doing personal development, not just with your network marketing business, but also, your own business. And you are self-proclaimed, your mantra, and now I've blanked on it.
I am a powerful force of love and freedom, inspiring greatness within myself and others.
Amazing. So, that is more than most people will ever even aspire to be. And there's so many blanks in there that I'm missing. So when you are introduced or when you are talking about yourself, who are you and what do you, tell us a little more about yourself. And then I'm going to dig in a little bit more to your story.
Okay. So when
Did I miss anything?
when all of the bells and all of the whistles and all of the accolades, when you strip all of that away, at the end of the day, I'm somebody who truly wants to make a difference in the world. And if you could picture somebody flicking the universe and increasing the consciousness so that people can actually truly, truly, truly be happy when it's like before you go to bed at night and it's peaceful and it's calm and it's no voices in the head and you're like really, really happy with your life. Whatever way that I can do that, whether it's through music or dancing or apps or singing or marketing or any way that I can reach any human soul and show them an example of what freedom looks like or how they can discover their own freedom and their own power within. I'm on that like flies on doo-doo.
We wouldn't get white on rice. It's gonna be something different if we're talking to Garrain. Okay, amazing. And I think that even you describing that, going to sleep without that busy mind and that deep sense of contentment, I think even that is more than most people have even experienced. And some even, I guess, don't even believe that you can feel like that. I think that we live in a world these days where we've just kind of accepted this low-grade level of like anxiety and overwhelm and stress, which I really don't see from you. And that's one of the biggest things I think that you've really mastered, the change your mindset, change your life, right? Which is your mantra. So how do we, and I don't want to get into your story really because that's really, really juicy, but how do we, really...
That there was so much more than what I could see. And then once I started being aware, I started relating everything to terms that made sense to everybody, especially when I'm speaking to people. So in kindergarten, they tell you you're going to graduate one day, 12th grade. You can't see it. It doesn't even make sense to you. Nothing that they talk about makes sense to you. All that makes sense is what they're currently the lessons to learn that's right in front of your face right now. So like kindergarten, you learn ABCs. A's for apple. But as soon as they say the ABCs, you're like, no, it's not supposed to make sense. And if there's a process that can get you to a place you've never been before mentally, which is expanding your capacity. So I've always known that there was more. I didn't know how until I started living life. And I was never afraid to do things. I would just do it and then things would happen. And so instead of saying, oh, you either win or you lose, you actually either win or you learn, which means you're always winning. If you can learn.
Always be winning.
Yeah. If you can learn, you'll always be in in a state of mind where, wow, so now I have a contrast from the life I'm living to something else, but I just learned something that if you apply the ABCs, that's why you can learn language. Mm-hmm. And from ABCs, then all of a sudden you learn sentences. Mm-hmm. Then you learn paragraphs. Then you learn how to write little short stories. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there's authors. Then there's melody. Then there's dancing. Then there's language. And you see how it's forever evolving because the essence of life is growth. And as I was growing through my trials and tribulations in life, I started looking back on my life. I was like, holy crap, everything is all the same. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the future looks like. I have no idea. But I know that there's something out there. Mm-hmm. Just like when I go fishing, I don't know if I'm going to catch a big fish. However, if I don't cast out my reel into the deep blue sea, there's no possible way I'm going to get the big fish. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's having that creative mind and having a vision for your life, which we all started out. Mm-hmm. Ask any 4-year-old, 5-year-old child, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. They're all going to say something massive. Mm-hmm. Ask that same 5-year-old child when they're 30. 99% of them are working a 9 to 5 job out of security and fear, getting paid less than their value. I promise you, because they gave up on that first original dream. Mm. You know what I'm saying? So I never gave up on the dream. I always wanted to be a superhero. I wanted to be stronger than the average man. I wanted to have abs like an action figure. And I wanted to save people's lives all over the world. I never gave that up. Not even in high school. People are like, what do you want to do when you get in the real world? I said, I want to be a superhero. And I maintain that. And when you maintain something for long enough, life has the ability to create in physical equivalent what you continuously focus on. Mm-hmm. It may not look how you want it to look, but it will feel, once you're immersed in the process, you're like, wait, I know this feeling. Yeah. So I don't know what my future is like, but I know that I want to make a massive impact in the world, and I will do any and everything through every platform to do it. Yeah. I don't care if I get money or not. Like, I'm just gonna do because it's something that's deeply embedded in my soul, and we all have it. We just start taking on other people's ideas of how we should live our life, and people should all over you. Don't shit on my life. This is my life. I know you have your opinions. However, that little inner voice inside of me has been talking to me and telling me and giving me signs my whole life. When we listen, things happen.
There is so much of what you just said that I could run with. I'm just like, oh my God. Shooting all over you, like the people's expectations, that just committing, how much commitment. And I really want to get into the story because it just really shows the adversity and the resilience and the grit to keep going with that vision, because it's all very well to sit here and see what you've got now and think, yeah, that's great for him to say now, you've held the vision, but you have gone through it, right, to get where you are. There's just so much that we could have run with there. But I want to get into a little bit of your story now because so many people out here won't really understand.
Can I stop you really quick? Because I don't want the listeners to miss this. Everybody goes through things, but very few people go back and get the lessons. There's a seed that's part of a much larger picture in every single thing that you grow through. Most people just leave the past in the past. You have no idea that inside of the past contains a gem that can literally explode your entire life. And through that's where I learned patience. I learned resilience. I learned how to lead no matter what. I learned how to develop products. I learned how to be a selfless servant. I learned all of that through things that I had to grow through in the past that I chose not to leave in the past. I needed to find why. Instead of saying, what's wrong with me? I'm saying, why is this happening? What's the lesson to learn? And then I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. And that's a massive shift. Even just because there's going to be these nuggets all throughout this. I know that. But it's like just that simple shift in perspective, asking instead of why is this happening to me? What can I learn and how can I grow through this? Just these simple shifts. It's like, I think Tony Robbins says, the quality of our life is the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves. So the people that are achieving higher things and greater things in their life are just asking a series of way better and more resourceful questions when things happen. Like, what can I learn instead of why is this happening, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so take us back a little bit before you were the Garrain Jones of today and walk us through a little bit of what you have gone through. Obviously, I know some of the story. Everyone out there is not as aware, because I've heard quite a few things. When I was over here the other night, you were recording one of your personal development tracks. Yeah. Just watch Garrain get into flow and just go and record a track, and I'll link up his SoundCloud so you can go and check those out. But another little story came out of there. I feel like there's a lot of stories within your story that have really shaped you. And that was some of the questions that people were asking, and especially when we hit the rock bottom, which I'm not even sure where in your story is rock bottom. Yeah. There's quite a few mini rock bottoms. But what really caused that shift. But maybe just share with us some of the stories that stand out to you that have shaped you into the man you are today.
Okay. Damn,
he's picking from a very big pile of stories.
I would have to say I was 13 years old, and there's a girl named Ashley Bostrom.
No, that's with a girl.
I never would approach a girl because I was afraid. Mm-hmm. And she was the first girl that in my head, I was like, I love her.
Yeah. 13.
Puppy love.
Oh, yeah.
And then it took me a whole entire year. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what? Today is the day I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. And I remember.
Straight for the girlfriend card. No dates.
No, but she liked me.
Right, okay.
And there was no, people weren't talking about dating when they're 13. It's just this is will you go with me? Okay, we're going.
Steady.
Yeah, one of those things. And we were at the skating rink. It was on Friday night. It was at 9:49 p.m.
Wow.
And it was time for couple skates. And they were playing the song, Every Little Step I Take.
Oh, true.
You will be there every little step. I remember everything to the T.
Yeah.
And I remember I said, you know what? I'm going to ask her out right now. I'm going to ask her out. I walked over. Well, I skated over to Ashley.
You're like roller skating?
Roller skating, yeah.
So
I skated over to Ashley. And I said, Ashley, will you go with me? The whole year she told me she liked me.
Oh, sure.
And I said, will you go with me? Knowing she's going to say yes. And Ashley Bostrom says no.
Ashley Bostrom, if you're out there, you're getting bad.
Ashley Bostrom says no because I'm in love with I'm in love with Roswell, which was my best friend at the time.
It's like a movie.
And in that very moment, imagine someone who's never had a girlfriend finally gets up the courage, a year's worth of courage, to say, will you go with me? And she says no, because I'm in love with Roswell. In that very moment, I meant, because we have all these stories in our head and we make it mean something. Here's what I made it mean. Nobody loves me.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the story I told myself. Mm-hmm. I will never in my life put myself in a position to ever be rejected again.
Mm-hmm. Age 13.
It starts when we're young. And here's what happened. I always position myself to be seen, but I would never step across the line and take that leap of faith. Mm-hmm. But inadvertently, I started developing early on the muscle of attraction. Mm-hmm. Because I would go to a club and I would start reading a book. And then the prettiest girl in the club would come up to me and be like, why are you reading a book?
Right.
Nobody else was reading. So I developed these skills to do all of these things to attract people to me so that I would never have to go to them. So and what I didn't realize is even in my mid-30s now was, even though people can look at my life and see all of these things, you're like, wow, you attracted an amazing life. I have no idea what life is like in the fullest expression of Garrain Jones because I've never I have since then,
Right.
but I had never stepped across that line called fear. And that was an invisible wall of fear, kind of like the little puppy that